This video is a demonstration of how Yongnuo's wireless remote flash trigger system for Nikon does not work properly with the flash value lock function. For those of you who may not know, flash value lock is a function, usually found on better cameras, that makes the speedlight fire pre-flashes so the camera can measure and calculate the necessary light output for a good flash exposure. It does this using through-the-lens metering without actually having to take a photo. This is slightly different than regular TTL speedlight exposure metering that occurs when you press the shutter release button and the speedlight quickly fires pre-flashes right before the shutter opens. In that case, the TTL flash value is used to self-adjust the speedlight that then immediately fires as the shutter is triggered and the camera takes a photo. Whereas, when you use flash value lock, the shutter button isn't involved at all. The camera does not have to take a photo, and instead the TTL flash value is temporarily stored by the camera for use at a later time. One purpose of the flash value lock is that the pre-flash exposure metering can be performed once ahead of time, and the flash value can be applied to multiple subsequent photos. It's a bit like having the control you get when using manual flash output, but without having to do the calculations yourself or perform any real trial and error preview test shots. There are several other great advantages to using flash value lock, but that's not the point of my demonstration. I just wanted you to at least have a basic understanding. To begin this demonstration, I'm going to first show you how flash value lock is supposed to work. I'm using this Yongnuo YN622N-TX speedlight and this Nikon D800 camera. I've attached the speedlight directly to the camera, so at this time there aren't any remote triggers involved. The D800 doesn't have a dedicated flash value lock button, so I've assigned the function button to do it. I'm going to now activate the flash value lock by pressing the function button. The speedlight will fire some pre-flashes and then store the resulting value. To recap what has happened so far, I activated the flash value lock function, the speedlight fired the pre-flashes, and so now the FV lock indicator appears on the display screen showing that the camera has locked the flash value into temporary memory. Now I'm going to take a photo by pressing the shutter release button. Because the flash value was locked, the speedlight did not fire any additional pre-flashes. Rather, the speedlight simply fired at the correct exposure while the shutter was open. Back on the information display, we can see that the camera and speedlight are ready to flash again. Also, because the flash value is still locked in memory, I don't have to press flash value lock again before taking additional shots. The speedlight output will remain identical for each shot and should be correct as long as my flash to subject distance stays roughly the same. To summarize, the point of this portion of the demonstration was to show that the YN622N-TX speedlight combined with the Nikon D800 camera worked perfectly together here with flash value lock. Whereas, problems occur when I attempt to do the same test with the addition of Yongnuo's YN622N transceiver and YN622N-TX commander. Yongnuo claims that this commander works with flash value lock. However, as I'll demonstrate now, Yongnuo isn't really correct. I've attached this transceiver to the speedlight and the commander to the camera. Both the transceiver and the commander are set to the same channel and group, and both are in TTL mode. Incidentally, at the time of this recording, the commander is using the latest firmware version 1.5. The transceiver and commander are able to communicate with each other as demonstrated by using the test fire button, as well as the ability to remotely zoom the speedlight head in and out, etc. With the remotes attached, when I activate flash value lock on the camera, the speedlight fires pre-flashes, as it should, the flash value lock indicator shows on the camera display, and if I then take a shot with the camera, the flash exposure is good. But when I take a second shot with the flash value lock still in memory, the speedlight completely fails to fire. This is because the Yongnuo commander currently only works the first time with flash value lock. After the speedlight fires once, the commander will not send the fire signal again until flash value lock is cleared. So, with the Yongnuo wireless flash trigger system, the flash value lock function is mostly useless unless you want to clear it and relock it for every single shot. This severely impaired performance by Yongnuo's system almost completely defeats the purpose of having flash value lock. I contacted Yongnuo's customer support about this problem, and they suggested that I reset the transceiver and commander and try again. I did this, but of course it made no difference. Customer support also suggested that my unit might be defective and may require service. However, from what I have read online about this performance behavior, I do not believe it's a defective unit. Rather, I think all of the units have been programmed incorrectly. I also suspect that the people who write online about the flash value lock working perfectly for them are probably only using it for a single shot at a time and not realizing that the flash value lock and Yongnuo triggers won't work for repeated shots. If you are also having a problem with Yongnuo's wireless flash triggers and flash value lock, please contact Yongnuo at service@hkyongnuo.com and let them know. I'm hoping that Yongnuo will fix the problem with a firmware update as soon as possible.